mechanism of muscle contraction. So here we are talking about the contraction of skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscles are those which are attached to the bones. So here the theory behind the skeletal muscle is called as the gliding filament theory. So the muscle filaments, that is the thick and the thin filament. Thick filament is myosin, thin filament is active. So in sliding filament, thin filament slides over the thick filament. So this theory of sliding filament was proposed by Huxley, was a physiologist at the Cambridge University, England, in the year 1954. So how this sliding starts or the initiation? Initiation is because of a motor neuron message or the message sent from the motor neuron. Initiation of muscle contraction by impulse or message sent by motor neuron. Now, what is a motor neuron? So, neuron is basically a nerve cell. So, in nerve cells, these nerve cells join together to form the tissue that is the nerves, which form the peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system is made up of the afferent and the efferent nerves. Afferent nerves and the efferent nerves. Afferent are the sensory nerve fibers and efferent are the motor neurons or the motor nerve fibers. So as the name suggests, A for afferent means these nerves made up of the neurons arrive towards the central nervous system, whereas the efferent exit from the central nervous. System. Right. So afferent is sensory and efferent is motor. So the motor neuron brings the message from the central nervous system. Now, for example, you are in your classroom waiting for your teacher. So when your class teacher will come in the class, so what will you? First of all, you will see through your eyes that the class teacher has arrived. So the message from your eyes via the efferent or the sensory neuron will send the message to your central nervous system. That is the tip that your teacher has come. Next, what you will do is you may stand up and wish good morning, sir, or good morning, madam. So that message comes from the central nervous system, which brings it to the muscles of your lower limbs. Because of contraction of the muscles of the lower limb, what you do, you can stand up, and the muscles in the tongue make you speak good morning, sir, or madam. Is that clear? So initiation because of the message sent by the motor neuron from the central nervous system. Now, few things more that we have to understand. That is, next is the motor unit. Now, motor unit. Now, here what happens? We have studied about the structure of neuron. So, neuron is like this. It has the cell body. The processes, that is the dendrites, nucleus, this is granules, and this is axons. Axon terminates into branches. There must be many branches. Is that clear? And there are these axon terminals. These are the vesicles, synaptic vesicles. Right? So it may be many. So each terminal end, that is the vesicle, will bind with a nerve muscle fiber. Muscle fiber. Right? So one motor neuron can attach with minimum 3 to 100 muscle fibers. Is that clear? Muscle fibers. So muscle fibers are the cells of the skeletal muscle. Right. So one motor neuron can supply to approximately 3 to 100 muscle fibers. This is what is called as the motor unit. That's what is given in your NCRT textbook. Right. So muscle fibers supplied by the motor neuron is called as the motor unit. Next, you have to understand about the neuromuscular junction NMJ or the end plate, right? Neuromuscular junction or the motor end plate. So this neuron, when it will bind with the muscle fiber. So muscle fiber is basically in the cell of muscle tissue. So when we talk of cell, so any cell has a membrane. It is called as the cell membrane. So similarly here, the muscle cell has this membrane which is called as the sarcolemma. So the nerve will attach or form a junction with the sarcolemma, which is called as the neuromuscular junction or the motor end plate. So the motor neuron terminates here, ends here, forms a junction that is called as the neuromuscular junction. Now, how this process will begin? That is the contraction of the muscle. That is the mechanism of the contraction. So, when this motor neuron will get the message that yes, muscle has to be contracted, as I have given you example of your class teacher of your class. So, what will happen? This motor neuron will get initiated and it will release a neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitter, which is called as acetylcholine at muscular junction. So, what will happen? This acetylcholine or neurotransmitter binds with receptors on the lemma. So binding of acetylcholine with the receptors on the sarcolemma. And because of this